Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for being here. This is our after church tea time. And yes, I'm here with Melanie, a Unionist as well. And Melanie, any insights, anything that you'd love to share about Valentina's beautiful sermon today?
Yeah, I've experienced what I like to have a very strong mom who couldn't allow herself to show mistakes or well-being reality. And she held the family together and managing everything and carrying the weight of all in all. And through the teaching, and I see it also in the sermon, that I've been able to gain a deeper understanding of this energy of a divine mother embodies, and to be realized that it's safe to integrate or learn what is divine, what is this energy of a mother, and what is the energy of our Divine Mother into my own life. And I recognize that my grandmother was also embodied this rule of a strong woman who take on so much without truly being supported herself. And then I naturally look on this rule as well, and because it was modeled for me. And yeah, I begin to heal this energy within myself that I not how this dynamic shift in me. And my mother's rule also started by change, and also our relationship grow closer and more connected. And she has been learning to embrace her feminine energy also more and more. And yeah, this is a journey who shows me that healing doesn't just transform our personal lives, it can ripple outward and changing the patterns of this around us in profound ways. Yeah, you understand?
Yeah, no, I love that because we're always having this ripple effect where we change one thing. Even sometimes I notice I'll make a new choice internally and I'll see changes on the outside. And like I make a new choice and I heal that place where I feel like, okay, well, I can't have this and this. I can only have this, right? Because sometimes our parents, like our mothers will, yeah, like take on the world and not allow the support because they didn't know. Like
Mm.
they didn't know how to support themselves emotionally. And so it can be a challenge for them to support us emotionally. And it just and then it just gets transferred from generation to generation. And so we're learning to I feel like I always learned like it had to be hard or that my mother always had this just really perfectionist kind of mindset around the home and like having everything really clean and having the laundry folded a particular way, everything going in its place in a particular way, which is a beautiful thing in itself. Um, but, I remember she would take off work and then clean the entire house. And because she was sick, like she would take off work because she's sick, and then she'd like catch up with stuff. Maybe she'd rest a little bit in the morning and then like whirling dervish around the house. And I always was like terrified to be a single mother because I saw how difficult it was for her. And so yeah, it's I think we're learning to heal that attachment um to like our parents being that support, to letting Mother God be that support for us, because it's kind of unfair to expect our mother to be everything when they're learning too. Um, so yeah, so I think it's been a challenge and just remembering that my mom is really innocent and she's doing her best. Like we're all doing our best. Um, but also like, yeah, it can be easy. We can let it to be easy. We can call in the support that we desire and then
Mm.
heal all the blocks to it, right? I think that's the challenge is understanding that spirituality isn't just a place to pray and to be with God, but also to heal into the support and heal into the love that God wants us to have. And yeah, it's been a process.
What I learned about the teachings also, what is this divine mother energy is I believe it was naturally to first the first act is to clean externally. We have in the outside it's clean, it's we look at the first time that we have a nice home, but rather than intentionality turning inward to connect with ourselves, that it's more important to go inside and look there for more peace
Yeah.
and and healing. Yeah, um, heal myself and give me there inside this peace and joy, and then I go outside, and
No, I
that.
yeah. No, I so love that because I remember so often I would be frustrated with, my challenges, and my coach would always remind me, you have to heal first. You heal first before you get that external result. And, also not having attachment to the result, just like learning to trust, which I found one of the most challenging things to do is to really trust that like God's not going to take things away from me. And I feel like, but that's not the nature of love. Love doesn't take, love shares and gives and offers and has this equal balance of giving and receiving. And yeah, I love how Valentina said that her family was able, her mom was able to give her this magic as a child. I feel like that was so beautiful. But then there were other areas that she needed to, leave, other areas that she had to learn to rely on Mother God for those. And that's because we're all learning. Um, and then also just feeling like um healing that emotional support, having that emotional support inside, and then allowing yourself to be supported and trust. Like I know for myself, sometimes I feel like I have too many things on my plate to do. And as I support myself emotionally, I'll have days where I'll just have an extra hour because someone will cancel and it didn't affect me financially, but just like I have extra time and space to actually get things done, which always feels really nice. And then I can come back and still serve, still serve in a really powerful way. Um, are you a mom, Melanie? Are you a mother?
Yeah, I have two kids. Yeah, yeah. And it was for me a very important thing. It was, I've also learned that material energy is not about sacrifice, but also about care and nurturing. I've worked on healing my ID. What is a mother should be, and as shaped by society. How do you say society? Oh my God, this
Society.
word.
Society.
Sorry.
You sound amazing, Melanie. You really sound amazing. We understand. You sound amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead becoming a mother who doesn't model self-sacrifice for her children. Yeah. And I've learned that I'm not their source, but rather they can find their source in Mother or Father God. Yeah. Mm.
No, I love that. I know for myself, you know, early on when I was first became a mom, I didn't have the teachings of union. And I don't feel like there were definitely moments that that I sort of regret only because I didn't know how to love my daughter. Um, but the truth for me is that my daughter just wanted to see me really happy. And she would have these upsets literally like right before I would have one. Like maybe a couple, she would have an upset, we would work through it, and then like an hour or two later, I would have an upset coming up. So my daughter was actually feeling my upset before I was.
Okay.
Yeah. And so as I learned to heal internally, and my daughter still does that today. She'll be like, "Oh, okay, I want to go to dad's now, you know?" And I'm like, "That's weird. Why do you want to go to dad's? You want to hang out with me?" And then I will have this huge upset come up. So now my upsets don't, because I've gotten to a certain point in my healing that it's not disruptive for her. And maybe we've healed some of that like enmeshment where I just like, I let her have that divine experience with God and just trust, her little teenage moods every now and then she'll get in. And I notice if I just trust that she's going to move through it, she does. Like, I don't even have to interfere. I just give her space, make sure she's eaten, of course, right? But and then yeah, it's so beautiful to see that. And then she gives me space when
Yeah.
I need it, just naturally. It's really beautiful. But before the teachings of union, we constantly triggered each other. And so now that I really know how to handle my upsets, she's free to just be happy and or and I hope in time she'll learn to feel her feelings more and those kind of as we lead the way. But yeah, that's been kind of my experience as I start to lean on Mother God, right? And not my mom, but my Mother God, and just really allow myself to be loved. So that's been really
Yeah,
powerful.
I
So
make the same experience with my children's. I also find it's very important to communicate clearly about our healing and our journey, and that's help us as family to grow together or um, yeah, find peace in our healing. But I think it's very important that I can speak with my children about the teachings about Mother and Father God, and yeah, about this journey with this yeah, with the upsets, and go deeper with God. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, so I should say I'm really just leading the way in my family and just like, showing my daughter the way. She's not quite open to the mirror exercise or to healing work yet. Um, but it's interesting. It's interesting as I heal. Um, she's just, I think I can tell she's a little curious, because she sees me not settling, right? And she sees me like choosing areas of life where it'd be very easy to step in fear and to settle. But I'm like moving forward and making changes, but they're foundational changes and they're just very gradual. So it's like when you're building a foundation, I always thought success, right, looked like this huge, massive, like explosion of success. But what I'm learning is just like having this foundation of love in my life and just, you just like, you almost don't notice the difference. And then eventually you've got like, a whole wall built and then it starts to really have this. this full support all the way around you and underneath you in your life. And I think my daughter's starting to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's a little curious. She's like, "What?" And because naturally she's going to have contrasts with, two parent, with co-parenting and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of contrast. Um, and I just trust her to choose what's right for her. And so far that seems to be working. And hopefully I can help her align to Mother God and Father God as she gets older. So yeah.
Yeah. What I want to how to say share with our followers is when I realized that in certain situation I didn't have this mother that I needed. I healed those ones with connection with the Divine Mother and filling myself with everything I was missing. And this gave me a sense of safety and allow me to oh my God,
You're doing great. You're doing great.
nurture that part of myself and help
Yeah.
me feel deeply loved. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you shared that. Yeah, because Mother God does love us so much. And I've been healing a lot around my family dynamics and my relationship with my mother specifically. And it's hard when our family mirrors to us places that we're not emotionally supporting ourselves, or for me, just definitely being too hard and too harsh on myself. And
Mm.
so as I learn to work through that, I heal my inner critic. And hopefully, I'm starting to help my daughter recognize that you don't have to have an inner critic. You just do the best you can and be a good support to yourself. Um, because I think that's how we're meant to be loved is compassionately. And yeah, and then I feel like too, I notice that when I'm very compassionate with myself, I'm more likely to align with love, right? Because if I'm harsh with myself or I'm upset, then I'm less likely to eat on time, to go to bed on time, and do all those things that really help me align to feeling supported. And so the block to love is not necessarily just the bedtime, but it's like, okay, well, how can I really support myself so that it's easy to align with love?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I'm learning. And then just recognizing that my mom was like reflecting to me where I was harsh with myself.
Yeah.
And then just taking responsibility for that. But for me, it's been a little bit challenging because I was shutting down my emotions and I was disassociating a little bit. So I was like, and disassociating was like shutting your feelings off and like, um, and just being very inauthentic. Um, and I would notice it like when as I started to heal it, I would notice like as I would leave work, my heart would open up and I'd relax and I felt good. And I mean, I have a business that I've created that I love. So there, it doesn't make sense that I would be shut down at work. Um, um, but they were just places I was afraid of rejection, but I was actually rejecting my divine self. I was rejecting and putting, I don't know, like success as like putting my self-worth and success in the same place rather than recognizing, oh yeah, Mother God believes that I'm worthy of love, that I'm worthy of love, whether I'm like financially successful or not, but that like it's that emotional success, like feeling supported inside, like that's where the real success happens. And I think that's really what the teachings of union, what Jeff and Shaleia teach us, what my coaches like help us align to, is that inner love, um, and to release those places where we have to shut ourselves down, um, because we might be afraid of what emotionally I might say to myself, or the energy. For me, it was more like the energy. I wouldn't have like negative thoughts per se, but I would have negative um, feelings that I couldn't, yeah, I just couldn't like express. I just like pushed them so far down that I didn't even recognize that I was doing it. It was like such a like lifelong pattern, maybe even past life. But um, so that's been a huge breakthrough to be able to um, let myself feel, and then really fill myself with love in those places that I didn't know were empty.
Mm.
The challenge is like not knowing that there's these like blocks of emotional support that aren't in place. I was just used to like power through life.
Mm.
Yeah.
I remember that after a few years of healing, with the teachings of Union, my my mother even told me once that she is very proud of me, and she see me as a role model. And
Oh,
was
nice.
this was very a deep healing for us, both of us.
Wow.
Yeah, and I
Incredible.
see this work is it's amazing to go to heal the mother wound.
Oh,
Yes.
that is so powerful. Yeah,
Mm.
I remember as a child, like my mom always, it felt very resistant to learning from me. And I always just sort of like let that go. And I always promised myself that when I was a mother, I would let my daughter teach me, because I
Yeah.
knew that, you know, I knew that I had a lot of gifts to share with my mom. And, and so that's been a beautiful thing, because my daughter is such a teacher,
Yeah. Definitely.
and she was treating me very, I remember this very distinctly. This was after my divorce. Right after my divorce, it was very fresh, probably just a few months. We were in a new apartment. My daughter was just treating me so badly. And I was, I finally just asked her, I was like, why are you treating me so badly? Why are you treating me so bad? Like several times I was just so frustrated. And she was just in her innocence was like, well, that's how you're treated. It's like, and I thought she was reflecting at the time, I thought she was reflecting my marriage. But now knowing the teachings of union and how far I've come to heal those places that I was like not good to myself, I'm like, yeah, she was reflecting how I was treating myself. But at the time, it was like left field. You just threw me a curveball. And I'm just so grateful that I ended up finding this work so that I could actually heal those places. And we've gone from that to, um, I think even a few years ago when I was just really deep in my healing and working through a lot of hard things, like she would make me a bath with like rose petals from roses that we just had that she had dried. It's like, what? I mean, I never would have thought to do that for my mom. I was always a very like thoughtful child, but I never would have thought to do something like that. And to be able to have it turn um is just amazing, you know. So your
Yeah, my children are
children, yeah.
knock on the door.
How old are
Sorry.
they? How old are your children?
Yeah, yeah, my children, yeah.
How
Yeah.
how old are they? How old are
Excuse
your
me.
children? How old?
My the boy is 11 years old, and my daughter is 9 year old. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, mine's 14. So yeah. And we're having such a beautiful teen experience. This is not what I thought, but I intentionally worked to build a foundation, especially since she was about 9. Always, of course, you want to create a foundation, but I was like very intentional from the time that she was about 9. It's like, okay, I have to create a really great trust, build a lot of trust for her teenage years, so that she's, stays on a really loving path. That's my hope. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the beautiful work that we can give our children
Yeah.
as yeah, when we study this teaching and embody this or learn what is Divine Mother for us, that there is a Divine Mother, there is God as a Divine Mother for us, and yeah, we can embody this in our life also. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm still learning that. I mean, I feel like compassion resonates a lot with Divine Mother, um, unconditional love. But yeah, I definitely am still kind of learning and healing into what that means for me. But I think that's a beautiful thing about, spirituality and like learning to open up to like the love, and I recognized in my healing, like, kind of where I had these upsets with my mom on what she was reflecting to me were blocks to loving God. And so for me, that was like a huge, like, oh, I'm projecting my mom on God. Like that's not correct. It's not aligned. That's not. So it's been really powerful to actually face these upsets down and realize that, oh, and then I've actually been going back even through some of my father healing too, and going back and looking at my life and looking at like where God was, and like where did Mother God support me? That was something that when I was listening to the sermon, I was trying to think of, okay, well, where did Mother God support me throughout my childhood, each little journey that I've taken throughout the years. And yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring that. I feel like that's my next step. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Does that
Now I feel complete at the moment, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and there's no questions so far. So, all right, everyone. I'll just conclude. Melanie, it was great getting to know you today, and thanks for joining us. And those of you watching at home, thanks for being here. We're so grateful to share the message of the teachings of union with you. We're so grateful for Jeff and Shaleia for just guiding us and loving us. And such a beautiful sermon, Valentina. If you enjoyed this message, feel free to go to unionism.org. You can share a tithing so we can continue to share this message with the world. You can also see lots of previous videos are all there at that website as well. Or yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you,
Thank you. Bye.
Melanie. Bye-bye.